The Raupenschlepper Ost, or Caterpillar Tractor East, was a fully tracked, lightweight vehicle used by the German army in World War II. After the first fall and winter on the Eastern Front, the German experts realized that the extremely primitive roadways in the Soviet Union and the seasonal mud required a fully tracked supply vehicle to maintain mobility. The famous Steyr-Daimler AG, the large Austrian conglomerate, responded by promising a small but fully tracked vehicle based upon its 1.5-ton truck, the Steyr 1500A, which was already in use in the German army. The new vehicle was introduced in early 1943. Initially designed as a prime mover and artillery support vehicle, it eventually served in a wide variety of roles. Immediately after the vehicle reached the Eastern Front, the units started using it for general transport duties. It gave outstanding service due to its reliability, its ease of maintenance, and its capability to take over a variety of roles that other vehicles simply lacked. The RSO was initially seen only as a transport vehicle, but in the middle of 1943, work began to turn it into an Ersatzpanzerjäger, a replacement tank destroyer, by simply installing anti-tank armament on the vehicle. Once fitted, this new tank destroyer that weighed only 5 tons was capable of knocking out most Allied and Soviet tanks on the battlefield. Its simplicity proved extremely valuable on the Eastern Front, surviving the brutal conditions much better than similar, more complex vehicle. It was also excellent over rough ground, much the same way as the Kettenkrad half-track motorcycle. The promise of a cheap tank destroyer with high off-road mobility was very tempting, as it was very difficult to the PaK-40 anti-tank gun crew to move the gun around the battlefield. The German anti-tank artillery also suffered heavy losses during retreats, as there was not always time to get the gun tractors up in time to save the precious cannons. The development of a tank destroyer on the RSO chassis began in the summer of 1943. The vehicle was very similar to the early German tank destroyers. It was a self-propelled gun with minimal defenses. One difference from the Marder guns was the ability to fire at a wider angle. The PaK-40 installed on the RSO could traverse 360 degrees, whereas the Marder II only had 55 degrees of traverse. The two systems, so the gun and the tractor combined together, had better mobility and practicality than when they were separated. The RSO would no longer be pulling a gun carriage through mud or difficult terrain, and the crew could fire the gun much faster once coming to a stop. It was also much more simple to drive away once firing was complete, rather than having to pack up the gun and ammunition, then hook it up to the tractor. The first prototypes had a fully enclosed, armored two-man cabin. The PaK-40 was installed on the platform behind it. the gun crew's only protection was the gun shield. This version lost one of the main advantages of the new configuration, the low height. It made the tank destroyer hard to conceal and reduced stability when firing. A demonstration to senior military representatives ended poorly, so the engineers were instructed to redesign the new tank destroyer, and this was done by August of 1943. The new vehicle had a lower armored cabin that fully covered the engine but not the driver. This left them extremely vulnerable to enemy fire, even more so than on a towed PaK 40 because it was much higher. To help provide some protection from the elements, the PaK 40 on the RSO was fitted with a canvas screen that could be erected over the vehicle. The height of the gun mount was also reduced. The firing platform kept its wooden sides that were simply flipped open in the battle. The crew consisted of 4 men: the commander, the driver, the gunner, and the loader. 28 rounds of ammunition were carried in 7 crates under the platform floor. The gun fired the same ammunition as the towed PaK 40. The Steyr company began building the first batch of 50 vehicles for combat trials in September of 1943. It is interesting to note that one vehicle was also shown to Adolf Hitler on the 1st of October 1943. This simple and cheap vehicle, armed with a powerful gun, immediately impressed the German dictator. He ordered to increase the production to 400 such vehicles per month. Deliveries to the front began in early 1944. However, very critical reviews began arriving from the front line, and the overall production volume was very low. Various sources give 60, 80, and 90 units altogether. The very first unit to receive the vehicle was the 1st Skijäger Brigade or Ski Hunter Brigade, which was formed in September of 1943. Each of its 2 regiments received an anti-tank gun company with 2 anti-tank gun platoons. Each platoon had 3 RSO PaK 40s and 1 RSO for carrying ammunition. However, most of the RSO PaK 40s ended up not in infantry units, but in Armee Panzerjägerabteilungen, so army-level tank destroyer battalions. The performance of the PaK 40 anti-tank gun is well known. When it hit, it was devastating. But the RSO PaK 40 was not popular among the German troops. Its drawbacks included low speed, the noise produced by its engine, and the lack of fighting compartment, which made the crew's work very difficult both in battle and during the transit. The tall silhouette that made the gun hard to hide and unstable during firing also drew a lot of complaints. This last factor earned the RSO a new, sarcastic nickname, the Rollender Sarg Ost, or the Rolling Coffin East. However, the most serious problem was the vulnerability of the crew. Positioned high up with basically no armor protection, they were exposed to enemy fire, shrapnel, and of course to the weather. With these frontline experiences and reports, Hitler ordered the entire project be cancelled in the summer of 1944. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and to make sure you don't miss my future work, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and press the bell notification button. Thank you and see you in the next video.